help us understand what you've done to really make that shift into cloud?
Yeah, I mean, I've had several conversations over the past years with multiple other VARs out there, right? And I think the biggest challenge that we see is, when you are a VAR that's in kind of that reseller/SI space, such as Groupware, the challenges that you're faced with is when you're bringing emerging technologies or something such as cloud that is different than what your traditional sellers are used to selling, it can be a big challenge. And it's, these guys are used to doing, these quick single transactions. They get paid up, where you recognize revenue up front. They get paid out on commission on, against that revenue, against the GP. And so that's a standard model for a typical salesperson. And so when you look at starting to shift to try to sell cloud, which is a different model from a recurring revenue stream and or services, then that becomes a bit of a challenge. And so we've experienced that as well as many other VARs out there in the industry. And so there's been a lot of talk and chatter around, okay, how do we make this shift, right? How do we get our sellers interested in selling cloud and services instead of just going after what they know, right? Because everyone's comfortable with what they know. They're going to stick to that model. And so we've gone through this for several years, and some of the salespeople picked up, they start to learn and figure it out. But for the majority of the sellers, it's a challenge, right? And so they don't feel comfortable in that space. And so they need to make, there needs to be a change, right? It's a culture shift. And so what we did was we finally decided that, okay, we're going to develop a cloud sales team, a cloud only sales team. And so we did that. We went out there, we hired some people. We developed a training program that puts them through the foundational training across multiple cloud providers, but specifically to Microsoft and M365, and build that foundational base for them so that they can go into the customer, have a fairly highly intelligent conversation, and then bring in their engineers when they need backup. And so that's kind of how we approach this. I think that, from what we've seen so far, this has been great. We go out here, we drive some campaigns and start taking those leads, throwing them at these guys and letting them go run with it. And so that was our answer to that problem, right? And then so we've just kind of started rolling that out here over the last few months. So really excited to see how that's going.